Hey everybody, Goose here, doing a quick Grand Arena video, a little bit down and dirty. Going through here today, this is my opponent, Ilkin, and he went kind of Tommy Turtle on me, so this was never going to be a full clear. So you can see up top, we've got a bunch of different teams going in first against this sort of Palpatine, Vader, Wampa lineup, and I decided to go ahead and take in my Thrawn, Vader, and Watt to counter it. And, this is a high banner, pretty easygoing team. So, I didn't really look at the speeds, but my Thrawn is 322, my Watt is 305, so I figured I would go first. So start off putting the weapon tech over there on Vader. And then I decided to go ahead and switch the TM back over to Watt so I could go ahead and get the health, and I ended up going with the health mod on Thrawn so I could get the health and protection recovery with each turn. And I had to figure out which one was which and what I decided I wanted to do. So I put that on him. And I went ahead and fractured Vader, as he is the big damage dealer on this team. And then from there, obviously, go into Merciless. Go ahead and do the Crush on Wampa so he doesn't counter. And then ability block on Palpatine. And then Palpatine's gone, Vader's gone. And so at this point, it was just really playing to try and get those banners back from that AoE on Wampa. And so a lot of passing the turn meter, using Thrawn's little strategic command ability, then kicking it back over to Watt for some recovery. That gets everybody back up to full, and then get a fracture on the Wamps, and then back to Vader, and good night Wampa. So that was a quick, easy 54 banners. My opponent had already attacked, and he went after. He basically stalled out against my GG team. He wasn't able to clear. So this was going up against Rebels. I decided I'd go ahead and do a mirror match, figuring that would be my best bet. And again, I didn't really look at mods. I was just squeezing this in between some family stuff today. And of course, apparently his Han was faster than mine, and they stunned the one person you don't want them to stun, so going after Chewie. So at this point, it's just trying to get through their Chewie before they get through mine. I lost a lot of that extra damage from Chewbacca, and of course, I lose my Chewie first. And so from here, it's trying to clean it up, and yeah, just candidly, you can probably see from the beginning, this match does not go well. So at this point, I'm just trying to get it down as low as I can. I've lost Han, I've lost Chewie, so go ahead and just see if what I can do with CLS left here. And I did need a couple misplays here. So far it's going pretty well. Both of us have that third Zeta on CLS, which gives him the additional tenacity. I go ahead and take it off there. I went for a strip, and unfortunately, you can see there I got the stunned, and that's really game over. And so lost that battle. I can't remember the last time I lost a CLS fight mirror match, but it happens. So afterwards, I was in a little bit of shock exactly at what happened. In fact, I think I was angry enough that my daughter came to check on me to see what was going on, and so I went through and just sort of checked some mods on people to see, and it did confirm the fact that his Han is modded faster than mine. I have mine modded just for damage. He's not very fast. So I decided to go in and go ahead and try and take out this Galactic Republic team, Padme team, and I don't know what I was scrolling through here, but looking for my Jedi, and this is usually my go-to threes team for countering Padme. Is Jedi Revan with Grandmaster Yoda and Jolie. I currently have my Grandmaster Yoda modded exclusively for offense. I actually didn't really haven't had time to really play with the mods on what I wanted to do with him yet, but I gave all of my the mods I had put on Jedi Knight Luke, which were no speed and all offense, which honestly were the mods I used to run on Yoda back when I ran him exclusively in a Jedi Knight Revan team, back when Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan were the meta. But at any rate, with the counter, you have to run for SLKR with Jedi Knight Luke. I needed him faster, and so I gave him the Yoda mods that I had been using when I was running Yoda on the Padme team, so about 285 speed with some decent offense. But anyway, so this Yoda has no speed, so he's just all offense, which works out okay here. This is really a fight that's never in any danger. For those of you who don't know how to do the Padme fight, you want to mark Anakin. You want to get him down, and once you get him down, it's really game over. After that, it's basically just biding your time until you can mark Padme, and then once you kill Padme, obviously you can do attack style turn without bringing the protection back on everybody. And so again, this fight was never really in danger. it just comes down to a point here, and you can see how hard Yoda hits, 145,000. It's nice having that ridiculous amount of offense on him. And from here, it's really just prolonging the fight, trying to see if I can get banners back, get protection back on everybody. As you know, Jedi Knight Revan, this lead, regenerates protection when he attacks out of turn, when any Jedi attack out of turn. So it's about trying to sort of pass it around enough. So I was basically get to a point where I could try and get all the protection back on everybody. So it's just trying to call everybody out of order to see what we can do there. And eventually, of course, Yoda takes him out. So 53 banners, lost protection on Revan, I think. No big deal. So then I was coming back in here to try and clean up CLS, and I was trying to figure out what I could do to clean him up without really sacrificing too much in the way of teams. And I think ultimately I decided I just didn't want to mess with it and go ahead and bring in my first order here. First order, and my first order team for cleanups tends to be crew, first order officer, and first order executioner, and they really are just an ultimate cleanup team in 5s and 3s in all the different modes. And crew with the persistent taunt and the 2-turn stun, and then of course first order officers there really just to sort of ramp things up and get them moving, and execution for the damage. So this is a fairly easy thing, and the only real danger here, even from a banner standpoint, was if Luke went after a First Order officer, it'd be tough to get protection back on him, because the crew lead gives protection back whenever they get buffs, and you can spread buffs with First Order officer to the other 2 characters, but it's only random if he would get any back on himself, and so it makes it a little bit harder. So anyway, that was a 34 banner cleanup, and then got our promotion to Chromium, which is nice. So this opens up the back row, and taking a look at what we had in the back row, we've got a Clones team, a Night Sisters team, sort of a junky scoundrel squad, and then a First Order team. I had some family stuff going on, so I took a few minutes to think about what I wanted to do, and stopped. And so then we hopped back in here, and I decided to go after that Scoundrels team, and I wanted to go ahead and use my bounty hunters. It's a faction I've been working on, and it really is a fun faction. And so I went in here with Bosk and Boba and Grief Karga, and I like to sort of split Bosk and Django as much as I can, so that I have 2 good leads. And the only real danger on this team is, from a damage output standpoint, is Chewbacca, veteran Chewie. He doesn't hit that hard, but what you'll see here, and what's a little annoying, is Stormtrooper Han feeds turn meter whenever he gets hit, and while he's taunting, and I can't get around his taunt with anybody but Boba Fett, and so it's a little annoying to sit here and just keep hitting him and watch Chewie go and try to steal my banners over and over again, because I keep feeding turn meter to the team. Eventually we do get to come back around here, we pop him, and then hit the big hit on Han to call it a day. And one of the neat things about Grief Karga is whenever their payouts activate, they immediately get a cooldown reduction on all their moves, which is awesome. So then looking at the other teams here, let's see. Can't remember exactly who I decided to go after next. I think I went to check the top row to see if there's anything I could clear up here. And so, he's obviously got Relic GG, he's got the Relic Sith Trio, JTR and droids, and then up at the top he's got a gas squad. And so I was sort of hoping to save my gas to see how it would match up, even though mine's a Gear 11 5-star, see how it would do against his. And so I wanted to not burn it down here on the bottom. And so I think the next thing I decided to do was go ahead and go after the Night Sisters. My typical Night Sister counter and right now is I like to use Vader if I haven't used him already, or Bugs. And particularly in 3s, Bugs are very effective. In 5v5, it can sometimes get a little bit squirrely, depending on the Night Sister comp and how well they're modded and put together. So this is sort of just a slow and steady fight. It's another one where It takes a few minutes, but the outcome is never really in question. Sort of the pain here is you don't have DACA for revives, but you do have the Towels in the lead, so they come back on basics, and it's really just a matter of killing Towels twice, and then once you get through her, you got to get Asajj down. And this is one of those instances where I sort of drug this out a lot longer than I needed to in the pursuit of trying to get banners back, because I kept getting dinged, with an AOE, or plague would stick or something would happen, and I would end up having a little bit of protection off of characters, and so I try and play around for Brood Alphas and everything. Like, for instance, I could have dropped the big hit from Spy there and ended it, but I decided not to because I was trying to get back to this move. I was sort of hoping that would end it there, and of course it doesn't quite, and then she heals herself all the way back up, and I'm sort of back at the beginning where I was. One thing I think that really helps on this team, and a good thing to consider, is when you're trying to counter Night Sisters and 3s with bugs, bringing Sunfac in is a huge help. I really like having Sunfac on offense. It removes a little bit of pop from the team, but what it really does a nice job of is it beefs the team up substantially. My Sunfac's got over 90,000 protections, so that really bumps the protection pool for the team in general. And also having the Dispel on his basic helps to neutralize Zombie. And obviously, see, I didn't get able to get protection back on Geo Brood Alpha there, so we lost one banner. So next, I was coming up and let's see. I think I was looking at see what I could do to try and go after this clones team, and I think I decided that I would go ahead and mirror match it, or not mirror match it, but I would take some shock clones against this Rex team, and I ended up with going with Shock T, Echo, and Arc Trooper. And the thought there being that I wanted to put my best possible gas team together to try and take on his gas on the top. And so I wanted to save Rex in 5s. And my Shock T is very fast, so I've got her modded, I think, at 339 speed or something like that. So, even with the Rex bonus, she's outrunning him. And so here's where I made a mistake. In 3s, you don't want to go after 5s. You're better off dealing with the super clones. And I ended up wasting too much time hitting him before I changed tactics. Because really, you're better off just hitting Rex, go ahead and making, getting through him twice and making the clones. Yes, they're going to hit hard, but this team is actually pretty survivable. So at this point, I've sort of realized my mistake and what I was doing, and I'm starting to go back after Rex, but I did it a little bit too late. So you'll see, I am able to get through Rex, which causes the 5 sacrifice. But I took too much time to do it, and so what ends up happening is Rex gets to his Annihilate, and then that's when things sort of spark over. So we got the sacrifice there, and he is at this point I'm trying to burn through him where he's extra tanky from the 5 sacrifice, and you can see here that he's about to pull off his Annihilate, and he takes out Shock T, of course, which is no good. So from this point, it's just trying to get through as much as I can. Nothing really good is going to happen here. They're hitting hard. They're getting turn meter with every crit I'm dropping, and of course, there's another Annihilate, so it's game over. So I was trying to sit back at this point and take a thought of what I had left to clean it up without spending anything too heavy. Again, my opponent had already attacked, had already sort of gotten stuck, and so I wasn't really in any danger of losing this. So I decided to go ahead and try something a little bit different with some of the scoundrels I had left over. So I pulled out a couple bounty hunters and Stormtrooper Han. And so the Django lead applies to scoundrels, not just to bounty hunters. So they get bonus speed. And in addition to that, bring Mando in for calling the assists and work towards the contract with Django, which is you damage a debuffed opponent 20 times, which takes a hot second. Mando's a really fun character. Unfortunately, mine is only gear 8 or 9, and maybe gear 10. but 4 stars, so he's still work in progress. I got Django up to gear 12, but the clones are relicked, and obviously the only I like all this deep is Stormtrooper Han. In addition to that, the 5 sacrifice is one of those things that actually persists in the next round. So these are still the super clones, even though 5s did not sacrifice. In this fight, his sacrifice still counts. Those stat increases are permanent. So as you can see, it takes a minute to burn through them, but I was able to clean that up with a relatively cheap counter. And so we got 51 banners. So left here on the bottom, we've got First Order. And again, I did not really check the mods on this team. I was sort of playing fast and loose, just trying to get through this as quickly as I could. I still have some strong characters left, as you can see, and so what I ended up deciding to do is go ahead and use my Jedi. I've got Bastila, I've got Ezra, and I've got Ahsoka Tano. My Bastila and Ezra are relic 5, my Ahsoka Tano is relic 7. And so they are, they're very strong. They all hit pretty hard, and they're all reasonably fast. So, excuse me, this is not the prettiest fight in the world. You can see they get going on just an unbelievable sort of turn meter train. I will say that, for equal relics or strength, Bastila Lead is not really a particularly good counter to Kylo Ren First Order. They just get going too fast, and you can see because with every crit, they're feeding turn meter the team in between, OG Kylo and his AoE, which feeds turn meter, and then Phasma, who's got the turn meter buff, team turn meter buff move. It goes slow. Of course, now that the crew is down, we get to let Ezra loose for 135,000 there, and then here he goes and puts it to bed. So all that massive protection up, made this one pretty easy because it was just a relic. A relic discrepancy. So next fight coming up in here, I decided, like I said, I really wanted to try my 501st against his. He doesn't have the best team there. He's got Ahsoka in there instead of another clone, along with Echo. But of course, his gas is relic 7 and mine is gear 11. So this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. I was curious if it's a mirror match I could win. And so I'm just trying to beat him up, and my hope here is that, I'll get the 5 sacrifice, and that Rex will be able to survive long enough to get off some Rexalates. And so you can see he's getting whacked pretty good there. And even though I have my gas modded for protection, he really folded like a cheap suit under the barrage. And of course, there's the sacrifice there. So now my Rex is pretty tanky. Here comes my gas standing back up. And at this point, it's just trying to get him down again to see if I can't get some damage. And there he goes back, taking a nap. And here comes the Rexalate, so I'll go ahead and knock him down. And that's a question of, can I get to it again before it's all said and done? And, one more turn here. And there we go, so I can take out Echo. And then, can I get back to Ahsoka Tano? And unfortunately, I got his gas standing back up, and he's going to one-shot mine back into a nap time. And so, this didn't work particularly well. Rex is going to stand up to getting hit over and over again. But he did get one more Rexalate off, which allowed me to knock him down. And so Katana takes out Rex, but Gas gets up, and he's angry. And I'm able to sort of work him down here slowly but surely, or work Ahsoka down slowly but surely. And so, of course, Gas gets up and blows mine out of the water. But anyway, considering the vast discrepancy in gear there, that was actually a pretty good outcome to get it down to the solo Gas like that. And so then I was taking a look at my roster and what I had left, and I was actually able to come up with what I thought was a fairly clever theory craft on how I wanted to handle this. And I was thinking maybe I could use Traya and Nihilus, but there's no way they would survive long enough to get to an Annihilate. And so I was looking, and I had R2 and C-3PO, and I was thinking that they would give a lot of control if I could figure out a way to build a little bit of damage into the team. And unfortunately, all my high damage rolls are gone. And then I saw that I had 3PO and Chewie, or Chupio, 3-Baka, whatever you want to call him. And so the reason I used him, one, is he is going to assist on every move for a Rebel. So you can see him assisting there. C-3PO is going to be dropping exposes on every time a Rebel uses a basic. You also have an incredibly tanky team here because both R2-D2 and 3-Baka share their stats with each other. And the way that that works is they share their stats and then they share them again, and so they buff each other up. And you can see, that effectively worked really well, really cleanly, and really easily. And that's really all I had. So at this point, there's nothing left in my roster. So I ended up winning this one. It was kind of dirty, it wasn't real pretty, but we'll see you for the next round.